there and the 400 came from the groves and just the 50 were at the tables. You know, but nonetheless, still a lot of people. It says, let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. So he's telling these 450 prophets, y'all get y'all sacrifice, you know, you dress it, and put it on the grill, basically, but don't put no fire, put it on an altar, don't put no fire under it. And I'm gonna do the same thing, all right? So you got 450 men grabbing their stuff, getting it dressed, preparing their altar, you know? And he says, and call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. Once again, that you know the name of the Lord is important. So he says, call on the name of your gods, and I'm gonna call on the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right? So he says, and the God that answereth by fire, let him be the Most High. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. So he's like, hey, y'all calling y'all God, y'all calling Baal, I'm going to call on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Whoever answers from heaven with fire, that's who's going to be God. All right? And so people said it's well spoken. All right? That was well said. All right? They basically said, that's cool. That's a good deal. All right, bet. All right, bet. Right. You know cool. All right, that's a fair deal. All right? And it says, and Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourselves and dress it first, for ye are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. All right, so he's like, hey, it's a lot of y'all, but still pick y'all one bullock, but put no fire under the altar. All right? He says, and they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon. That's all morning, man. You know, it's probably 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. They calling on Baal for 4 hours. Calling on Baal for 4 or 5 hours. He said from morning even until noon, man. All right? He says, saying, oh, Baal, hear us. But there was no voice nor any that answered. And they leapt upon the altar which was made. It says, and it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a God. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awake. So Elijah is hollering right now. Elijah like, hey man, maybe y'all God took a journey, maybe on a vacay. That's what he's basically saying. Y'all God is all on a vacation. Maybe he sleep. Y'all need to wake him up. You know what I'm saying? Because the Most High don't sleep, man. You know, he ain't fleshly like us. He don't need to go and take a nap. All right, he's all watching and all seeing, man. Okay. It says, I'm gonna read that one more time because he was hollering. 1 Kings 18:27. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a God. Either he is talking, so he's like maybe he in a conversation with somebody and he can't get back to y'all. He said, or he is pursuing, doing some business, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he's sleeping. So maybe he on a trip somewhere, or he sleep. You know what I'm saying? Or must be awake. So Elijah is talking shit right now. To put it plain, he like, y'all God is nothing, man, because he ain't answering y'all. All right, and he says, and they cried aloud and cut themselves after the manner with knives and lances till the blood gushed out upon them. So they, you know, you'll see now people who got like suicidal thoughts or cutters. They'll cut their arms or they'll cut their legs. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like they should be a weeping at the gnashing of teeth, man. You know, when they see stuff like that, that's just like when Stephen was about to get stoned, and Stephen saying stuff they can't gainsay or resist. And the Lord, when the Lord was hung headlong, you know what I'm saying? They grinding their teeth. They getting pissed off. They cutting themselves because they Lord. Elijah over here hollering by himself, and you got 450 men crying, oh Baal, answer us for 4 hours, man.
You know, they don't believe that bullshit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The Most High gave them over to like a lying spirit, a deceiving spirit, man.
That's right, brother.
They don't believe that bullshit.
They don't. And you can tell that now. These people out here, when they got all these false deities and African gods and all of this kind of stuff, man. They don't believe that, man. They just do that so they can get more women and say woman is God and all that nonsense. But go ahead.
I forgot what book I read it in. I think it was Wisdom of Solomon or one of those books in the Apocrypha, where it was speaking about how they made idols and stuff like that in these little rooms or whatever, and then they'll put chains on them and plates like food by them, and then what happened at night? There's a secret door or a secret passageway, at night where the priests will come in and they'll take the chains and they'll eat the food.
Oh,
and stuff
you're talking
that.
about the 3 holy children.
Yeah, I believe
Because
that's
that
what
was
it
about Daniel, and matter of fact, let's get that real quick.
You know what I'm saying? So that just shows you that they don't believe that bullshit, man.
Yeah, man. The 3 holy children, 3 little children. Where is it? Let me see.
Hollywood. Who does she think she is?
The song of the 3 holy children.
Huh.
All right, let me see if I can find that verse. Oh no, the song. Oh no, wait. Was that
Is it?
Baal and the Dragon? Maybe
Baal?
Baal and the Dragon. Because the song of the 3 holy children is the fire with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Yeah, the history of destruction of the Baal and the Dragon. Because that was about Daniel, and when they set up the false god.
You know what I'm saying? That just shows, man, they don't believe in any of that crap that they putting out there, man. It just benefits them when you believe in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that also that goes into where the mark of the beast, where it says you shall be given things given unto idols.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the same thing that they did to the idols back then. Put chains around them, give them food and all that kind of stuff, incenses and stuff like that. Because that's the same thing Esau gonna offer you in the time of in the last day.
That's right, brother. That's exactly what's gonna happen, man. You know, so this is the history of destruction of Baal and the Dragon. Verse 1. I started 10. Matter of fact, I started 7. Hold on. Started 5. Who answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living power who hath created the heaven and the earth and hath sovereignty over all flesh. Then said the king, so this is Daniel talking, all right? And he says, then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Baal is a living god? Seest thou not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? So they're like, hey, he eat and drink every day. He got to be a living god, man. All right? It says, then Daniel smiled and said, O king. Matter of fact, I'm going to just start up at 1 because we got to get the whole understanding. It says, and King Astyages was gathered to his fathers, and Cyrus of Persia received his kingdom. And Daniel conversed with the king and was honored above all friends. Now the Babylonians had an idol. So we know that Daniel was made high in the kingdom because he was able to discern dreams of the king, all right? It says, and now the Babylonians had an idol called Baal, and there were spent upon him every day 12 great measures of fine flour and 40 sheep and 6 vessels of wine. So they giving this idol god all types of meat, wine, all those goodly things, man. All right? It says, and the king worshipped it and went daily to adore it. But Daniel worshipped his own power. And the king said unto him, why dost not thou worship Baal? So he's like, why aren't you worshiping our God? You know? And Daniel's about to answer him. He says, who answered and said, because I may not worship idols made with hands, but the living God, who has created the heaven and the earth, and has sovereignty over all flesh. So Daniel's like, hey, I'm not worshiping this false God, man. I serve, just like Jonah said, I am a Hebrew, I fear the Lord, who hath made the sea and formed the dry lands, man. All right, that's what Daniel's saying. We serve the real living power, man. All right, he says, then said the king unto him, thinkest thou not that Baal is a living God? Seest thou hath not how much he eateth and drinketh every day? Then Daniel smiled and said, O king, be not deceived, for this is but clay within and brass without, and did never eat or drink anything. So he's like, hey man, this is only clay and brass, man. This thing is man-made. He didn't eat or drink nothing. Let's be real. That's what he's saying with the king. Let's be real, man. This thing is made out of clay and brass. There's no way that he actually eating stuff. So the king was wroth. So the king got pissed off, man, because this is the idol. Because if you read the book of Daniel, it talked about how when that's why Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego went into the fire in the first place. Because it said, whatsoever man does not bow when the trumpet is blown, and all the land shall go into the fire, he shall be burned. And so, since they didn't bow to they would blow the trumpet, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego would not bow to it. So they like, hey, so these Jews, they're not bowing, so we got to throw them in the fiery furnace. So that's why that happened in the first place. It says, so the king was wroth and called for his priests and said unto them, if ye tell me not who this is that devoureth these expenses, ye shall die. So the king going to his priest now, he's like, hey, so who's eating the food and drinking the wine? Because Daniel said that this is not the case. You know, the king got mad, man. He says, but if ye can certify me that Baal devoureth them, then Daniel shall die. So he's like, all right, I'll kill Daniel if y'all can let me know that the Baal, the false god, is actually doing these things and somebody not stealing this stuff. All right? He's like, for he had spoken blasphemy against Baal. And Daniel said unto the king, let it be according to thy word. Now the priests of Baal were 70. So it's like 70 men, all right, of the priests right now. All right? It says, beside their wives and children. And the king went with Daniel into the temple of Baal. So Baal's priest said, lo, we go out, but thou, O king, set on the meat and make ready the wine and shut the door fast and seal it with thine own signet. So he's basically telling, how you doing? He's telling Baal, he's telling, the priests are telling the king, like, hey, we're going to put the meat up there, we're going to put the wine up there, we're going to seal the door, and you even seal it with your own sign to make sure it's not open and nobody's going in there. That's what he's telling them, all right? He says, and tomorrow when thou comest in, so you know there's something going on already. He got a door. It's a door, and usually when you got a door, it's an entry point and there's an exit point. All right? So he says, and tomorrow when thou comest in, if thou findest not that Baal hath eaten up all, we will suffer death, or else Daniel that speaketh falsely against us. So there's like, hey, so tomorrow, if the food is there, you can kill us. But if it's not, Daniel gotta die. That's what they're saying. And he said, and they little regarded it, for under the table they had made a privy entrance, which means they made a private entrance under the bottom, under the table. You know what I'm saying? It's like a magic trick, man. You know? It says, table, they had made a privy entrance whereby they entered in continually and consumed those things. You see that? So they was being sneaky, man. They was being subtle. So they thought, oh, since this door, so basically they told the king, if you put your seal on this door, if it's not broken, we know that no man has entered this door. You know, if it's broken, that means somebody's going in there. So they had a little private entrance, man, where they snuck in, man, little serpents, man. All right? It says, so when they were gone forth, the king set meats before Baal. Now Daniel had commanded his servants to bring ashes, and those they strewed throughout all the temple.